So let's get started. Hello everyone, welcome to our YouTube channel, that is UPSC Geek by NRG. As pre-2024 is fast approaching, today we are going to talk about accuracy in preliminary examination. These days the pre-exam has become a game of accuracy than mere knowledge. Knowledge is not sufficient, but how with limited knowledge, with limited understanding, you can score the maximum marks so that to clear for the next stage, that is mains examination. As we can see the rise in the competition, our precision and accuracy in the exam plays very important role in our selection criteria for the mains. Okay, so in this lecture we are going to delve ourselves deeper into how to increase the accuracy level. In this lecture I will talk particularly about polity, and we will see how we can apply the same application in different subjects as well, and can maximize our accuracy in the exam with limited knowledge, with limited time, and with limited resources that we devote to a particular subject. As we all know that till 26th of May 2024 we have only left with almost 130 days, right? And we have almost 6 to 7 subject to studies, and if we give minimum of 20, like 15 to 20 days to each subject, then we will cover the entire syllabus with the time frame of 130 days with all the mock test, that is sectional plus full length test, right? And also do our CA and CSAT. We have to cover a lot of a humongous amount of things, and still some people might not be assured of their level of preparation, and this is very normal preliminary stage, right? And due to this lack of preparation, this lack of confidence, we usually get a sense of anxiety in the exam, which also takes a toll on our performance plus also on our mental health. And in this journey it becomes very important for each and every one of us to ensure our mental health so as to increase our performance and also productivity, right? So here it becomes very important for us to prepare strategically with limited resources, limited time, and limited energy, right? With this, let's start today's strategy. We will be mainly dealing on the strategy and the ways to enhance our productivity so we can increase our scores in preliminary examination, that is 2024. all right, so the goal for this particular lecture will be basically we will see how we can effectively analyze the PYQs, and we can focus on the primary or major areas, right, from where the questions are being frequently asked. Majority of the time what we do, we go through the PYQs, but we don't strategically analyze the questions, right? And here I will tell you how to strategically analyze the questions, and I will show you in the Excel sheet from where the majority of the questions are being asked. And by looking at those particular strategic area, you can prepare your agenda in very pragmatic manner in order to how to focus on a specific area so as to increase your score and accuracy in the exam, right? Then we will see how to achieve our targets, our goals in just a very limited time frame of 125 to 130 days with all the mock test and all CS and CSAT we have to do in the hand, right? Then we will aspire so as to make this process very friendly and not very stressful, because here sustainability becomes more important than stress, right? How we can make this process, right? We don't have to think on the negative side that we have very limited time. We still have 130 days. which is very very important and which is very crucial to decide our rank. Either it can break it or it can make it, right? So in this particular section we will see very positive side, how this 130 days, how we can strategically develop or formulate our own strategies that will make our 130 days, and it will ensure our presence in the next stage, that is mains 2024, and hopefully in interview 2025, and also in the holy list of UPSC, that is UPSC rank list, right? So with this, let's get started, and let's get started. But before starting, let's see what is the disclaimer for this particular lecture. So this analysis that we are going to do is completely based on objective evaluation, right? This is not something which I will do. This is something which will be based on Excel, which will be based on the data from the Excel that we are getting, and which will be very much scientific and without any biasness. It will not have my personal biasness. It will be completely based on the data from the PYQs, and also the UPSC notifications, right? Take this as a base to build your own strategy. Take this as a base to build your own strategy. This is not 100% or sure shot formula that I am going to give you to increase your accuracy or increase your performance, right? This is just a very scientific analysis which you can take, and you can build your own strategy, your own basis to study and aspire in this 130-day time frame that we have, and we can make this very very fruitful for our UPSC journey, right? So without any further ado, let's get started with this. And the only thing which I am expecting from you all is that the hard work, right? I will give you all the guidance you need. I will give you all the so yes, take this as a base to build your own strategy. Okay, so this is not any sure shot formula which will going to ensure your 100% selection in pre and etc. Whoever is telling or giving you such kind of guarantee, it is mere illusion. Don't trust in this process. The only thing which can ensure your selection in the process or selection in the UPSC is your hard work, people, is your hard work, your dedication, your hard work, and etc. Okay, we can give you the right guidance, but I will only expect from you is hard work and your dedication, right? So this is a game of competition. This is a game of elimination than selection, right? It is a game of elimination than mere selection. Here UPSC strives to eliminate than select, right? He will eliminate the worst out of the best so as to get the best at the end, right? It is a very similar to the process of chiseling. जैसे कोई मूर्तिकार एक मूर्ति बनाता है तो वो पहले पत्थर होता है, वो पत्थर से टुकड़े निकाल के उसको चिजल करके एक बहुत ही सुंदर मूर्ति वहां से निकालता है, राइट? वैसे ही यूपीएससी का जर्नी है. ये एक क्राउड से, ये एक स्टोन स्लैब से जो भी नॉट सो डिजर्विंग है उनको एलिमिनेट करेगा इन ऑर्डर टू हैव द बेस्ट एट द एंड. सो हियर इन ऑर्डर टू एंश्योर योर पोजीशन अमॉन्ग द बेस्ट, you have to put your hard work, you have to put your dedication in order to do justice to the post, right? So with this, I am hoping that you guys are ready to and willing to dedicate yourself in this very beautiful journey and ensure your selection in the mains 2024, right? So today we are talking about accuracy and how we can improve accuracy, right? So there are some scientifically proven factors which can enhance your accuracy in this exam, right? So what are those very factors? The first factor is selective study. As we all know that we have humongous syllabus in front of us, right? And we do not have that leniency and convenient of time to go through the entire syllabus and mug up the entire syllabus, right? So here it becomes very very important for us to do selective study. And how will we be able to do selective study? How can we do selective study? That I am going to show you in the for the lecture course, right? So here selective study becomes very important. Don't worry about how to do that. I will teach you how to do that. I will show you how to do that, and also I will prove how to do that, so that you can get your accuracy to the level of 99.99 percentile. Okay, the second thing is revision. Whatever selective study you do, you have to revise it. Okay, how will you be able to revise it? Through selective study and making the crisp note, very one pager note, right? Because look at the data here. If we have 130 days till 26th May 2024, at least you have to take out 7 days from this 130 days for what? Revision, right? And in this 7 days you have to at least dedicate 1 day for each subject, right? And it becomes very difficult to revise entire subject in 1 day, but it becomes possible if you dedicate, or if you have that one pager notes or very crisp notes for each subject, right? So here our main focus will be to have that very crisp one pager notes in order to just scroll through before the exam, and will be able to retain the what information or selective study that we have done, right? So here selective study is the first process, second is the revision, okay, and making or the preparation of the crisp note. Here becomes practicing mocks very important, right? Because more than the caliber, more than the talent, the practice to play the ball becomes very important, right? As we all might be aware that in one of the speeches, the Virat Kohli says that he will focus and prioritize more on the practice than the talent, because practice can enhance your accuracy to play the ball, right? To play the game at most adverse of the situation. And now consider prelims as that particular game. Irrespective of adverse situation, you have adverse time that you have during the exam. It is your practice that will always ensure your precision and accuracy in the exam, and hence your practice of PYQ and mocks becomes very important, right? And once you undergo this practice and mocks, here the analysis of those mistakes that you have committed becomes very important. Once you analyze the kind of mistakes you are making, once you take down the important information which you have missed during your selective study, you can again add those particular information in your crisp notes, so that you can revise that before the 1 day of the examination, right? So this will be our entire process to enhance our accuracy for the preliminary exam 2024, right? So the first is selective study. Because we do not have the convenience of time right now, we will do very strategically selective study, right? So how we can do selective study, right? How will we be doing selective study? So let's take an analysis here. I have taken an analysis of polity here, right? So as we have taken polity here, all right, so just I will show you how the questions are asked, right? So this is basically a tabulation of PYQs. These are basically the tabulation of PYQs in just the Excel sheet, and I will show you from the different parts of, let's say this is the book, right, that we all read for polity exam, that is M. Lakshmikant, right? And what we do whenever we start this particular book, we start from very beginning, and this becomes very fatigued finishing this entire book, and very less than even 1% people will be able to sustain all through these books. Majority of the people, they just give up, right? Because it is not that much possible in these days we do not have those purity or pristine time without distractions and etc, and hence completing this entire books become very difficult, right? And majority of the time what happens is that we start with all the constitutional frameworks and etc, the historical parts of constitution, making of constitution and etc, and just by finishing 4 to 5 chapters our brain gets fatigued, and we tend to leave the journey of reading the book in between, right? So just to ensure our priority sector or the areas from where we can read and increase our productivity and accuracy, this table will be very helpful. So this is the question, the tabulation of the question of past 10 years, right? Let's like from, you can see the year from 2023 to 2030. This is basically past 10 years, and the total number of questions asked are almost 19, 15, 18, 18, 18, 13, 22, 5, 12, 12 and 18. So on an average, almost 20 to 22 questions are asked from quality each and every year, right? And among those set of questions, if you look at this table, the majority of the questions are being asked from this particular part, that is constitutional framework. We will see what this particular part constitute of, right? If you guys are having this book, that is latest edition of M Lakshmikant, आपके पास ये different parts होगा. इस book में ऐसा index में है. The part 1 is basically constitutional framework, part 2 is basically system of government, part 3 is basically central government, and so on and so forth. So this gives the priority or importance of part from which the questions are being asked, right? So this is the first part, and you can see from the first part the majority of the questions has been asked, that is 51 in last 10 years. In last 10 years, the majority of the questions are asked from this particular part, that is constitutional framework. What does this particular part constitute of? It is basically not about the historical aspect and making of constitution, basically the fundamental rights, fundamental duties, DPSPs, right? Different constitutional values, and etc. And hence these parts become very important. But you don't have to start reading by it. I will also give you the scheme of reading. How can you strategically read the book so as to increase your productivity? The second most important part is which one? The system of government, right? So the questions like what are the feature of constitutional democracy, what is the feature of parliamentary government, are being asked from this part, and hence these parts become very important. The second most important was the central government, like president, the union, the council of minister, the parliament, right? Here these parts become very, very important. This is the third part, right? And here it is always advisable to start from the third part, because you can do precedent, and these all parts are very, very concept intensive, and once you get the concept right, it will become very, very important for us and very, very easier and convenient for us to solve the problem, right? And the third part is system of government, right? Federal government, parliamentary government, and etc., right? So through this chart you can see the priority of the area where you have to focus, right? So the first area which becomes very, very important is the constitutional framework. That is the first part of the book, and we will see the chapter as well in the later slides, right? And the second part is central government. From here you can see 48 questions have been already asked in last 10 years. The third important part is system of government, right? The system of government. Then again, current affairs, you can see current affairs have the weightage of 19 questions. So current affairs, how can you cover current affairs? It is basically from the monthly magazines will help you cover the current affairs, right? So you can just watch the lectures which are already available on YouTube and etc. You don't have to go through line by line and etc. You will get the gist and you will have the idea. So with CA plus static information from all this part, it will for sure increase your base as well as accuracy in the exam, right? And accordingly you can see the state government, from state government majority of the questions are being asked from the governor, right? So while doing president, you can simultaneously also complete the governor. Why? Because there is high correlation between president and governor. The functions and duties the president have at the central level, the similar functions and power and functions governor has in the state level, and hence it will help you remember and make that connection between the concept, and it will be kind of a revision and retention will increase for you all people. Then again we can see the constitutional bodies, right? Like election commissions, questions are being asked from election commissions and etc., and hence it becomes important as well. So these are some of the priority sectors as is manifested through this table where we can focus, right? Now let's see some of the like major areas and see them, like from where to start and complete the entire syllabus in very limited time frame of 120 days, right? We have almost 120 days, and if we devote at a stretch at least 15 to 20 days, which is more than sufficient for this particular strategic preparation, we will be able to finish polity very efficiently, right? Why polity becomes very important here? Because polity becomes very important here because it is very easy subject, because it is based only on concepts, right? You don't have to remember a lot of facts and data here. Concepts becomes very important, and hence once you have worked on your concept, it will also become very convenient for you for retention of those retention of such concept, and hence you can perform with accuracy in the exam, right? You can perform with accuracy in the exam, right? You don't have to mug up the data and etc. So like, how can we approach, or how we can prepare our schedule so that to so as to finish the entire syllabus of the polity, right? So the first important area, as we have seen, is the constitutional framework, which holds majority of the weightage in the polity in last 10 years, right? 58 number of questions, 58 questions have been asked from this part. So what are the areas which becomes very important when it comes to constitutional framework? It becomes preamble and the values in preamble, right? Values in preamble. We will also see the sources from where we can deal with this particular concept, right? So the values like sovereignty, the values like secularism, liberty, federalism, etc. They becomes very important when it comes to constitutional values which are embedded in preamble, and hence preamble becomes very important. So just to take you through the sources, okay, through the sources how one can achieve this, the values are very explicitly mentioned in these two NCERTs, right? So once one might already in your course of preparation already might have learned this particular book, that is Indian polity. We might be aware with certain concepts, right? It is not likely that we have not even opened the book. Even that is the case, even it is possible if you will follow that particular timeline which I have given, and just after reading this first source, that is Lakshmikant, which is the Bible for polity, which is the very important book for polity, just scroll through these two books. What does this mean? Just have a view, just have a upper view and scroll the pages, right? Just give a kind of one read, because it will tell you very important data about some of the most important facts which are the part of polity, right? Most of the time what happens is that we tend to confine our perspective only to the Lakshmikant. When we talk about GS paper number 2, we think it's all about Lakshmikant, polity is all about Lakshmikant, but the idea is wrong, the notion is wrong there. These days concepts are being asked from very fundamental sources, from very fundamental concepts, right? So if you don't have that fundamental brushed up, then you will not be able to clear that exam. Just in I was analyzing 2023 polity paper, and I realized that questions are easier, but the options that are being given in particular questions are becoming more complex and confusing, right? The options are more confusing, and hence in order to increase our accuracy, in order to have that precision in exam, it becomes very important to have a fundamental, to have very basic understanding, right? So from where you can have that basic understanding, you can have that basic understanding from this two NCERT, that is 11th and 12th NCERT, right? So once you go through this NCERT after reading polity, that is Lakshmikant, right? Because you will already be knowing about the concept. You just have to peep through the concept so as to the basics, the fundamental of each values, each constitutional values will become very important. Which is the third source? It is the objective question booklet by M. Lakshmikant himself, right? So in the process of approach, right? Like how can we approach this entire process? So first, don't directly start reading the book. Start with the MCQ from this particular source, that is objective of Indian polity by M. Lakshmikant. See, like if you started reading, let's say president, right? You guys might be aware about some information about president, right? Like president, who is president, how president is elected, right? Right, whether he is nominated or elected, what is the process of removal, impeachment, right? आपने कभी ना कभी तो सुना ही होगा. So just start with the MCQ from the objective, that is M. Lakshmikant, right? Once you go through the MCQ, you will know which areas you have to focus, right? Which areas are you getting right and which areas are you getting wrong, right? You don't have to judge yourself if you are getting the entirety of the questions wrong. It is good, because that is showing you your weakness, that is showing you where you have to focus more. Then again you can come back to this particular book, that is M. Lakshmikant, read the concept and again go back to MCQ and PYQs and see whether you are able to tackle those same questions or not, right? This is how this particular book is helpful in increasing your accuracy. The more practice you do, the more set of practice you do, the accuracy will be more during the exam. Why? Because you are performing under the stress, you are performing under the pressure, right? And hence accuracy becomes very important during those stage of exam, right? And here objective Indian polity will increase, and this approach of reading this entire polity section will becomes very, very helpful. First, starting with MCQ, if you are getting entirety of the questions wrong, no problem, just give it an attempt, see the areas where you are not being able to make yourself comfortable, read the concept, right, and emphasize more on the areas where you are making more mistakes. Again come back to MCQs and PYQs, right? This will complete the entire process of your approach towards polity and also towards the other subjects, right? Plus the PYQs again, as I have already told you, see the PYQs again and again, go back not just to the questions. Majority of the times we only see the questions and we leave the question. Also analyze the options, the type of options they are giving, right? Because the one option can be question for the next year, right? And this is how questions are being repeated, right? So in one of the question, for example, it was asked that constitutional democracy puts restrictions on the executive for the welfare of the people, something like this, right? And similarly next year they gives the questions, right? What are the feature of parliamentary government, where the executive is responsible to the parliament, right? So this is how questions are being repeated, right? And again, you can increase your accuracy, you can add on to your accuracy by working constantly with CA, right? So ensure, if you are giving 15 to 20 days for entire polity, if you are like, let's say there are, we will see here, right? So I have charted down some of the most important areas where you can focus. So see, the first areas we have seen was constitutional framework, the second was system of government, the third was central government, 4 was the state government, right? 5th was Panchayati Raj, 6th was scheduled and tribal areas, the 7th constitutional bodies, representation of people and anti-defection, and some of the areas which can also be covered through current affairs, right? So these are the 7 or 8 important parts, right? And if you will see total parts, right, under constitutional frameworks, we have chapter on preamble, we have chapter on constitutional values, right? We have chapter on fundamental rights, fundamental duties, PSPs, constitutional amendments, and etc. If you are able even to do one part in single day, or let's say if you are completing one part even in 2 days, right? 2 days, that you have to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 topics. You have to do 3 to 4 topics each day. 3 to 4 topics each day with current affairs. Remember this very important thing, right? So how you can approach current affair? Let's say if you are taking a July month magazine, right? July month magazine, do half of the July month magazine, just watch the video or just peep it through, right? You don't have to remember everything, because it will also be reinforced through your static preparation. You just glimpse through the concept and see whatever things have happened in that particular month, so that you will be having that awareness that yes, those sort of things were happened. Let's say in around November or December or October, there was an anti-defection case in Maharashtra, right, where particular faction of political party, they have defected their original political party and they have made the government. We just have to have the knowledge that something like that happened in Maharashtra, so that it becomes very important for us to expect questions on anti-defection this time, right? So this is how you strategically prioritize your area, which can be focused for the preliminary examination 2024, right? So the second part is system of government, right? So system of government, parliamentary system becomes very important. Like almost every frequent year there is a question either on constitutional system of government or parliament, feature of parliamentary system of government, federal systems, distribution of power like 7th schedule and etc. becomes very important, right? 9th schedules becomes very important, 5th and 6th schedules very important when we talk about schedules, right? Then we talk about central state relationship, again the 7th schedule, right? In the third part, that is central government, the president, the concept, the chapter on president is very important, right? So what are the concept where we can focus? The election of president, power and function of president, and impeachment of president is very important. Again, when it comes to parliament, in parliament, first and foremost important part is the proceedings of parliaments, right? Proceedings of parliament, where we have to learn about different motions. These are the priority sector I am telling you, which nobody will tell you. So also take a note of it, and also make sure to follow the same schedule in order to finish the priority sector at least, and you will be able to do up with 90% of the part. Okay, so proceeding sector like motions, right? Money bill, finance bill, joint sitting, cases in which joint sitting is permissible and not. Then again speaker of Lok Sabha, then presiding officer of Rajya Sabha, presiding member of Rajya Sabha, council of ministers, prime minister, etc. becomes very important, right? After parliament, come down to parliamentary committees, different types of parliamentary committees that we have. Just have the basic ideas, you don't have to by heart each and every committee, just know the functions of some of the important committees and the role they play, right? Then come to the Supreme Court, again very important. Have a knowledge of the recent judgment, right? Recent judgments. Have an awareness of the judge, like the Chief Justice, right? Chief Justice, how CJI is appointed, and removed, right? This concept become very important. Then come to judicial review. This is how you can work on central government. Always start with central government. If you are starting today with polity, start with central government, because these are very conceptual intensive. Once you are done, once you are ready with your note, you don't have to again come back to central government. You can always reinforce your learning through current affairs and also the MCQ. So always start with central government and do simultaneously the state government, that is governor. If you are doing with president, do simultaneously the governor, because the role president have at the central level, the similar role the governor has at the state level, and hence it will help you reinforce your understanding, right? This is how you can do the central government and state government simultaneously. If you are doing prime minister, do chief minister at the central level. If you are doing council of minister, do the legislative assemblies and etc. here, right? This is how you can make or do central government and state government simultaneously, right? So like take not more than 2 to 3 days to complete central government and state government. Then you can come to this basic concept like Panchayati Raj. Not most of the questions are asked these days, but it used to be asked in 2014, 15 and etc. on PESA and etc. right? So just have a basic understanding of Panchayati Raj. Very important concept is tribal areas, scheduled areas, right? Scheduled and tribal areas. So recently the areas like Lakshadweep, Andaman and Nicobar development projects and etc. have been in those tribal areas and scheduled areas, right? We have seen the incident in Manipur and etc. Hence this part becomes very important, right? So have a very broad understanding and idea of 6 part, do it, have a note of important laws and regulations regard to tribal areas, and make a ready crisp note of this particular part, right? This is the only part which is little bit data intensive, so ensure to have a crisp note, right? Then again come back to constitutional bodies, election commission, you have UPSC, you have finance commission and etc. Then directly come to RPA and anti-defection. This is under the political dynamic part of Lakshmikant, right? So complete this, ensure to start with MCQ, do the concept, then go back to MCQ and PYQs. This is how you can complete your entire syllabus in just the time frame of 15 to 20 days. At the end you come to constitutional frameworks, right? Constitutional frameworks, start with Lakshmikant, give a basic reading of NCERT, right? Give a very basic reading of NCERT again, right? Then again go back to MCQ, then again see the PYQ, and this is how you will be able to increase your accuracy, right? So we have seen the major areas where to focus. We have seen how to achieve it by looking at several sources, that is Lakshmikant, NCERT. Never neglect NCERT, people. Most of the people, they tend to limit their preparation only to Lakshmikant and CA, current affairs, and PYQs, right? These are also constitute very fundamental part of our preparation, because these are the books or the sources from where the concepts of values or constitutional values are being asked very frequently, right? And this book will increase your overall accuracy to ensure your gradual practice and improvement, right? How should be the approach? As I have already told you, start with MCQ, don't directly start with the concept, because you will not be able to retain the concept, right? Start with MCQ, know the areas where you are lying, where you are lagging, again go back to concepts, read those particular area, make note, then again come to the MCQ and PYQs, right? So this was our approach. So how to aspire, how to keep our journey sustained throughout this 130 days and till 26th of May 2024, right? So we have not more than 130 days, out of which we have to take 7 days for revision, right? 7 days for revision. We also have to take at least 10 days for FLTs, that is full length test and mock test, sectional test, right? So if you will take out these days, we don't have more than 110 to 115 days, right? 110 to 115 days, and this limited time frame becomes very important, very aspiring for us, so as to ensure our selection in pre-2024. It is not about selection, people. It is not about making your name in the list. It is indeed about that, but more than that, it is about maximizing your potential, right? And this is the opportunity you have to prove to yourself that yes, you can reach your potential. आप अपनी potential को reach कर सकते हैं, and आप pre में अच्छी तरीके से एक्यूरेटली परफॉर्म कर सकते हैं, राइट? बट इसके लिए हमें एक साइंटिफिक अप्रोच का होना बहुत जरूरी है. सो हाउ कैन यू डू दैट? एज आई हैव ऑलरेडी टोल्ड यू, मेक वेरी स्मॉल टारगेट्स, make very small targets, right? Like if you are, let's say if you are deciding to complete one part of polity, right? Let's say you have decided to finish central government in 2 days or 3 days, right? 2 to 3 days. In fourth day, don't do anything, just watch some current affairs videos, and you can just try solving some MCQs and etc. Don't give yourself such a fatigue on fourth day, right? Take this day very normal, but ensure to be on the same loop by watching some current affairs monthly magazine videos and solving some MCQ, plus again coming to fifth day and again following this 2 to 3 days of rigorous schedule, then again come back on fourth days to little bit of lenient schedule, right? So this is how you can make some small targets. Then again you can reward yourself by keeping your fourth day or fifth day or third day very normal. Then again reinforce this throughout the journey so as to ensure your selection in 2024 preliminary exam for mains exam and ultimately for civil service examination 2025, right? So this is what it was for today, and this is how you can ensure that you are increasing your potential each day, and also simultaneously you are improving your accuracy, which becomes very, very important for this journey of UPSC and also for preliminary examination 2024. With this we come to the end. I can only show you the right guide, I can only show you the right path, I can only be the right guide, but all or everything you have to do is by your own self. That is the hard work, that is the dedication, which will harvest the fruit of success, dedication, and what happiness, right? With this, let's end today's lecture. And if you have any sort of doubt, if you have any sort of query, ensure to put that in the comment. And also you can join my Telegram community, that is UPSC Geek by NRG. I will ensure to mention that in the description, and where there we can discuss if you guys have any sort of problem that is bothering you for the preliminary examination 2024. With this, let's end today's lecture, and always remember the motto statement, that is as you strive so you thrive. आप जितनी मेहनत करेंगे उतनी आपको फल मिलेगी. थैंक यू.